Now, you may be, most of you may be entrepreneurs, and probably you are just seeing entrepreneurship as a way to have some lifestyle business. So, and that's fine. I think that's probably fine. Now, what I think is that most of the time, the energy or the effort that is required to build a lifestyle business is not less than to build a breakthrough business. So, as Mark Andreesen, who is one of the father of the modern internet and a successful venture capitalist, says smart people should build things. And I do think that it's the role of entrepreneurs today to contribute to build a better world and to be builders, to build things, to provide solutions to real problems. I have nothing against, social apps, etc., and I'm a quite big user of social apps, but it's not going to solve some big problems that we have. And so what really I encourage every aspiring entrepreneurs to really build things. And so my role at Superpreneur Blueprint is to elevate entrepreneurs to become super entrepreneurs or superpreneurs to solve the world's biggest problems. And how to do this? I think that one way to do this is by materializing crazy ideas, to come with unconventional, radical ideas, because most of the conventional ideas have proven that they have some limits. So it's time to come with some new, fresh ideas that can seem crazy initially, but if you pursue them, you will see that you can really come to some breakthrough. And I'm going to give you a couple of examples so that you understand what I mean. Now, before giving you the examples, you may ask, yes, but do we have so many problems? That's a legitimate question. And maybe some of you read this book from Steven Pinker, The Better Angels of Our Nature. And in this book, the author argued that violence has declined over time and that there are much less problems and that the world is getting better. And I think that globally he is right. It's true that if we look back maybe 100, 200 years ago, the world is much better, for sure. Nevertheless, we cannot, let's say, forget that we live in what I call the age of exponential acceleration. What does it mean? It means that the pace of change of everything is going today exponentially. So technologies, problems, everything is going exponentially. And we see it with the pandemic of the COVID, it went really exponentially. The problem of this world, which is with exponential acceleration, is that our human adaptability has always been linear. So there is a gap between our adaptability and the world we live in. And to fully understand exponentiality, think that if you just walk 30 linear steps, you will just move forward of 30 meters. But if you could do 30 exponential steps, you will be able to make 25 times the round of the Earth, of the planet Earth. So exponentiality is a very strong concept, which is always difficult to understand. But remember that today, everything is going exponentially. And most of the problems that we are facing today are going to increase exponentially unless we bring some solutions. Now, again, your question may be, what are these problems? And here you can see some of the 10 most important problems for the next 50 years. Maybe we should update this list and put disease like pandemic as number one. But it's true that one of the top problems today is energy. We are more and more on the planet. We are consuming a lot of energy on the planet. Today, it's still the majority of the energy coming from fossil fuels, and we know the effect on the planet. So we need really to come with a new paradigm, to come with renewable energies, much more, and to really be rid of fossil fuels. This is a major challenge for the years to come. Water is also a big problem. On Earth, there is a lot of water, but unfortunately, many people on the planet don't have access to drinkable water today. And sometimes in some countries, they need to walk kilometers to try to pick some drinkable water. That's not normal at the 21st century. Food is also a big problem. In Western countries, we have an abundance of food, and sometimes we have a lot of waste with food, for sure. And we have problems of obesity, etc. Why in some countries, some people, they have only one meal per day. And we have an excessive usage of animal meat. So there is a lot of things to do also to feed the world. And I really encourage entrepreneurs probably to tackle this kind of problem. Environment, that's an evidence that the planet is today under pressure. We need really radical solutions if we want to respect the Paris Agreement. Poverty is also a problem. 1% of the population won 40% of the resources. What does it mean? That 99% of the population, 99% won 60% of the population, of the resources. And for example, on the Facebook group of the Superpreneur Blueprint, and later at the end of the presentation, we will give you the link if you want to join this community. Someone came with a crazy idea, and this crazy idea was, look, why not to invite the richest people on the planet to see what is really poverty, and to bring them, in places where there are really, really poor people. And most of you probably, they will say, that's crazy, this will never happen, etc. Yes, probably to bring them physically, I think is going to be very challenging, for sure. But what about, for example, a virtual reality application that could allow to immerse wealthy people in conditions of poor people? And maybe when they would experience this kind of, living, maybe they will be ready to share a little bit more of what they have. So again, think I'm possible and not it's impossible. There are some other problems like terrorism, war, disease, of course. With the COVID, we see that pandemic is at a big risk for the coming decades. Education, many people, many children on the planet, they don't have access to a good education. So there are a lot of solutions today coming up for this. So as you see, even if the world is getting much better, there are still a lot of problems. And let me give you an example. And before giving you some examples, what you have to understand, as Peter Diamandis says, is that the world's biggest problems are the world's biggest opportunities. So take these problems as opportunities for you not only to have an impact, but also to build a breakthrough venture. And let me give you some examples. And first of all, let's start with probably the genius of the 21st century, Elon Musk. He is a great innovator for sure. And maybe you know or you don't know that Elon Musk, he is living in LA, in Los Angeles. And SpaceX is located close to LA. And he has a very particular weak ethic, I would say, Elon Musk, because he starts working with SpaceX from Monday to Wednesday. Then on Thursday, he is commuting to San Francisco to go to Tesla and going back to LA on Friday. So he is commuting always between Los Angeles and San Francisco. And probably that during this commute, he thought, look, there should be probably a better way to commute than to take the plane or to take the car. And so he did a sketch about an idea, again, a crazy idea, which was a kind of high-speed train called Hyperloop, which is going at 600 miles per hour on air cushions. So there are cabin, you enter, it's underground or overground, but in sealed tubes, and you go very fast from one city to another. But as a matter of fact, Elon Musk is very busy. He has so many already ventures that he decided not to do and to pursue himself. So he wrote a white paper and made it available as open source. And some board entrepreneurs took the idea, like Richard Branson and Virgin, and now they are materializing this crazy idea with the Hyperloop. And there are probably today between 8 and 10 teams around the world that are materializing the Hyperloop concept. This is another one with the first, let's say, prototype of the train. Another super entrepreneur is Peter Diamandis that I already mentioned before. He wanted to be an astronaut. And he realized, Peter, that becoming an astronaut, the chances are very, very small. Moreover, most of the astronauts, they only fly 2, maximum 3 times. But why not, if you are an astronaut, to fly whenever you want? And so he decided to launch a competition, the X Prize competition, to create the first private space flight company or airline, if you want. And so this was the Ansari X Prize, a 10 million X Prize, and a team which was sponsored by Paul Allen, the co-founder of Microsoft, won the competition with Spaceship One, which is now, you can see it in the Space and Air Museum of Washington, D.C. So again, Richard Branson, again him, took the idea and created Virgin Galactic to really have the first private space tourism company. And this is what today the Spaceship Two cabin looks like. It's very nice, and it will offer a very nice experience to the future private astronauts. So again, it was a crazy idea, but today is going to materialize, and the first private flights will start very soon. Another super entrepreneur is Pat Brown. And Pat Brown is a scientist, and he realized that there is a big problem with food and with the excessive usage of animal. So why not to create nice meat, nice burgers that really taste like meat? but that are made from plants. But he was struggling with this because he was trying, experimenting, and all these burgers were not tasting, even with, you know, spices, etc., where they were not tasting as real meat. And then he discovered a magic molecule called AIM. And this molecule is something which is present into animals. And this molecule gives to the meat this particular taste that for the meat lovers we like. So now what he does, he injects this molecule into the burgers, and the burgers looks fantastic and really taste as meat. They are so nice that he convinced Burger King to adopt the Impossible food. And now there is the Impossible Whopper. That's fantastic. So again, a crazy idea that has been materialized with a commercial product. Another super entrepreneur is David Anson. David is, his dream is to have robots, humanoids, that really live among us and really help humans. And so he created Sophia, a humanoid, a female humanoid that is very, very smart. And she is so smart that Saudi Arabia decided to grant citizenship to Sophia. So it's the first robot to have a citizenship. And she is so smart that when a US journalist asked her about the danger of robots for humans, she did a joke about Elon Musk, because she said, look, you are reading too much the tweets of Elon Musk. If you are kind with us, we will be kind with you. And everyone was completely blown away by this response from the robot, because it was not programmed before. She just responded this thanks to the artificial intelligence that she has. And even David Anson, the founder of Anson Robotics, which is behind this robot, was completely amazed by the response. So again, the reality is going so fast, you know, it's exponential. Another guys who are very, very smart and real super entrepreneurs too are the founders around Lilium. And Lilium, it's a German-based company, and they want to have electric flight, so small taxi aircraft between cities. So this is really to allow fast transport, which is emission-free, etc., to really fight against, let's say, the negative, let's say, usage of fossil fuels in the transport industry. Another super entrepreneur is Jos van Oorschot. He is a young Dutch entrepreneur, and Jos was dreaming about creating a moon base. And you know that there are many programs from NASA and ESA to come back to the moon, but for all these programs, there will be a need of a lot of electric power. And his idea is, instead of bringing the solar panels from Earth to the moon, let's create the solar panels directly on the moon by using moon dust. Completely crazy idea. But he realized, look, this is going years and years before materializing this crazy idea. So let's do it first on Earth. And let's create what is called a TerraBox, which is a machine where you put desert sand on one side and you produce solar panels, fully operational panels, all made just from sand. And this can look completely crazy, but today it's materializing in Luxembourg. And I'm one of the co-founders of the company. And I can tell you that the technologies, they work. And we are on our way to produce our first panels completely from sand. So again, crazy idea from the start and materialize in something which is completely breakthrough. Now, you may wondering, okay, Fabrice, thanks for saying this, but all these guys are doing, because yeah, they are amazing and they did some amazing things, but all they do differently. And